Hello and welcome to the Grumpy Sound Guy YouTube channel and to today's video about the Behringer wing rack. Now I know that there is a ton of release videos all over YouTube this week about this. Even some people doing some in-depth interviews. I have watched several of those and I think you're going to be surprised as to my take on this, because on this channel, you know, we kind of focus on what really matters in middle market pro audio. And the wing, I guess, is probably in the upper echelon of middle market desks. I would probably put it up there with the SQ line, you know, and that sort of thing. But today's take is not what you're going to see on everyone else's channel. So if you're interested in the Behringer wing or interested in getting an objective opinion on this new piece of equipment, stick around, because today's video is going to bring some hard truth to the table for Behringer and for those of you that are looking to jump on the flavor of the week. So stick around, I'll be right back. Okay, so before we dive into today's content, let me remind you to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's absolutely free to subscribe. 80% of you guys watching this video right now is not subscribed to the channel. If you enjoy this content and you enjoy my perspective on the music business and my kind of like street smarts, down to earth, budget conscious kind of mindset on reviewing gear and trying to teach you guys how to make maximum amount of money with minimum amount of gear, man, hit that subscribe button. You know, like I said, it's absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything. Hit the notification bell so you'll get a notification every time we post a video. I have no way of taking that information of you being subscribed and using it in any kind of spam manner or anything like that. So when you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, you're just going to get an alert whenever I post a video. We do daily shorts almost every day, short form videos, and then at least once a week, every Wednesday at 8, we do the Grumpy Sound Guy show. But I'm trying to pour more content into the channel. So we're getting up to 2 and 3 videos a week now, long form videos. We're having these kind of conversations, you know, like we're going to have today, and really, you know, dive in deep and get into the nuts and bolts of whatever the day's subject is. Now, if you're already a member or already a subscriber and you like just really dig what's going on here and you want to see more of this filtered to you, I would ask you to become a member of the channel. You can do that for as low as about $5 a month. You know, that's about the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks or something like that. Probably, you know, in my area, it's less than a price of a cup of Starbucks coffee. And it gives you inside access to member-only videos that will never be made public. At least that's kind of the way I'm structuring it. So if you're not a member, you're not going to see that content anyplace else but on the member side of the YouTube channel. There's a couple different packages there that give you a couple different quirks and things like that. We're planning right now, in the planning process of putting together some live chats where we're going to get on there and just kind of talk back and forth to each other. Members always get my attention, even if we're over on my Facebook profile, the JR Everhart Facebook profile, and you send me a private message. If I know you're one of my members, I typically answer your questions. I'll even come over and do a video for your question on the member side specifically for you, which is pretty much the way I've been handling that. And I think that's been working really well. So yeah, I mean, get on the train, man. Be in the inner circle. Sit at the cool kids table in the cafeteria of Grumpy Sound Guy followers and become a member of the channel. Also, one last thing, and then we're going to dive into the conversation. Please jump over to the clpaudio.com website check that out. There's a merch store there that you can buy all kinds of goofy, cool, Grumpy Sound Guy swag and merch that I have created and put up on there. Or maybe you want to support my company and fly the CLP Audio and Staging colors as your next gig. Man, that's the place to do it. I barely make a nickel off of any of that merch that's happening over there on that site. We're actually in the process of revamping the website and stuff like that. But get over there, clpaudio.com, clpaudio.com, and check out all the things that are going on over there. Let's get back to the conversation. Hello and welcome back to our video review here of the Behringer Wing. I think you guys are going to really enjoy my perspective on this. You know, the thing that we try to focus on most, as I was mentioning in the intro to this, the thing we try to focus on most in this content on the Grumpy Sound Guy channel is really trying to give you guys, you know, just gut level blue collar solutions to the things that you have to deal with in the middle market as pro audio engineers and company owners and bands that are trying to do their own sound and stuff like that. So we really try to cut through all the bull butter, you know, and really just get to what we know works, what works in our company, what has worked for me traditionally in installs and in, you know, whatever environment that I'm thrown in. I'm trying to share that information with you guys. This is actually my second take on this video. I'm in the middle of reviewing about 4 different consoles right now, and I just get things mixed up sometimes. So you guys are just gonna have to forgive me and realize that I am human here. I had made the comment that the Wing was a 96K console. I knew that it wasn't. Even when I said it, I knew it was a 48K console, but for some reason in my mind, when those Wings first hit the market, I remember a spec junkie buddy of mine telling me that you could get it to 96 if you busted it down to 24 channels or something like that, or, you know, 32 channels or whatever. It's a 40 channel desk. So, I mean, I just kind of got that stuck in my head, and I've been talking a lot about the Allen and Heath SQ line, which is all 96K, and been like praying to the audio gods for a HD 96 rack, you know, sort of 96K thing. So I've had that, you know, 96K thing just stuck and burnt in my brain for about the last 2 weeks, trying to, you know, review consoles and do content and that sort of thing. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for waiting another 24 hours for me to re-record this and to get this correct. So I am not going to beat around the bush today in this. I'm going to get right to brass tacks. I've already eat up a bunch of your time with the intros and the promo stuff and all that and everything. This, I don't think that the Behringer Wing is for me, you know, in any form. You know, I never liked the original layout. I don't like the workflow. The console feels flimsy and cheap to me. It's white, like whoever come up with that, it should have been shot in the face with a bazooka. It looks like a lighting console or maybe a piece of medical equipment, like the control surface for an MRI machine or something like that. Like I could never get around the fact that it just felt flimsy. It is obviously built to X32 standards in terms of build quality. I'm not super huge on that. For my money, I'm an M32 guy. I own 4 M32s. I have 3 M32C DL32 setups. And then right behind me, behind these speakers here in a case is an M32 Live full-size console, that we bring out for national acts and that sort of thing. So, I mean, I thought from day one, the Wing would have been much more appealing to a guy like me who is just a middle market production guy. I'm a one-man, you know, company here with 5 or 6 1099 subcontractors, and that's kind of how we do business. We do 180 shows a year in that neighborhood, a lot of big festival stuff. We own a mobile stage. This whole middle market thing is kind of our claim to fame, you know. We do nightclubs to county fairs to community concert series. So in that, framework of pro audio, it never made sense to me why the Wing was not released under the Midas umbrella with Midas build standards. If it had been that and been black or even dark charcoal gray or something, I probably would have moved right into that ecosystem. But it just doesn't feel like it has any meat to the console itself. It feels like, the X32 kind of on steroids with some of the customizable features on it. The other thing that I have seen firsthand that has been a downside about Behringer wings as a whole, we haven't even gotten to the rack complaints yet. I'm just talking about Behringer wing as a whole, is it's so customizable that a lot of you novice or intermediate guys that happen to, get a good tax refund and went out and bought one, are getting way over your head in how you're setting up these consoles. Your mixes are super complicated. They sound like trash, and they're just not getting the job done. I know I'm going to get a bunch of Behringer wing hate for this video, but this is just the way it has panned out in the world that I live in and the people that I see using these desks. Now, excuse me. The guys that are on my level, and mix on a professional level, this is what they do for a living. They've got 3 decades or more of mix time under their belt. I've seen a bunch of those guys on wings have phenomenal mixes, but it's the Indian, not the arrow, man. If you put me on a wing, it's going to sound like JR's mix, because my mix pretty much sounds the same on whatever you put in front of me, within the system limitations. It's the same way with, I heard somebody talking about, seeing Jeff Beck at a Guitar Center or something at one point, just picked a guitar up off the shelf and it sounds like Jeff Beck. That's because it's Jeff Beck, Jeff Beck's going to sound like Jeff Beck no matter what you put him on. But it's kind of the same way inside of pro audio with those of us that have mad experience and decades of mix time under our belt, decades of ear development, hearing frequency, hearing and feeling compression, things like that. Really correcting for the system, correcting for the room, all that kind of stuff. The Wing gives you all those tools. So if you're someone who knows how to handle those tools, that's fine. And listen, let me say that if you're somebody who, like, the Wing is your deal and it's your whole identity and you've kind of just got everything lock, stock, and barrel invested in the Wing ecosystem or whatever, you do you, boo. I'm not mad at you. I'm just telling you from a blue collar, in the trenches, 3 and 4 times a week kind of guy, it doesn't bring the tools to the table that I feel comfortable with. I don't feel like that console is going to give me the lifespan that I need. I'm trying to get 10 years out of every mixer that I buy. I don't think that's unreasonable considering what we pay for this stuff. Granted, it's a lot cheaper now than what it was 30 years ago when you had to buy all this stuff in components. But at the same time, 99% of this stuff is manufactured overseas somewhere, most of the time in Asia, for nickels an hour, or something like that. There's no reason for the consoles to have to be as expensive as they are. But that's a whole nother conversation, and I digress. Getting back to why I'm just not a Wing guy, it just doesn't fit into my workflow. It does not fit into my portfolio of inventory. It's not something that appeals to me in any way, shape, or form. So when they talked about bringing the rack, unit out and the things that was going to be on the rack unit, I really felt like they had a lot of opportunity to kind of get this right. And I don't feel like that they did, I just don't. If you're looking for an in-ear mixer for your band, especially if you're in a big band, like say a 9 or 12-piece horn band or something and everybody's on ears, man, this is probably going to be the mixer for you. This would be the rack mixer that will really get that done. But, for a guy like me, I need 32 inputs, guys. I can't say that enough. 32 inputs all day long. I want 32 inputs, and I want the inputs on the front of the unit. The whole tilt thing that they have on the Wing rack, that thing looks really flimsy, and the first time somebody catches their jacket on it walking past it or something, it looks like it's going to break off the front of the unit, and then then you're going to have a unit that's useless because you have no way to control it. I don't know if the Wi-Fi controls will work without the face on it, or how any of that works as far as internal wiring. I've seen a couple reviews where the people were tearing the boxes apart and showing you the internals. I didn't see any internal fans. One guy said he had a promo unit or an engineer unit that wasn't a production unit, that didn't have a fan in it, and he didn't know one way or the other whether or not they were going to put a fan in it. That concerns me, because I'm doing mobile audio, okay? If you're going to park this thing in a climate-controlled environment, like a church or a nightclub or something, you'll probably be okay, and the thermal concerns are probably not on your list of things that you're worried about. But if you're like me, who is setting up a stage in a complete system on asphalt in July or August, for a day festival with no shade, I'm concerned that thing's going to overheat and shut down. X32s were notorious for that for a long time, before guys really figured out that they get their venting from underneath the console, and they started propping the consoles up just a little bit more. And some guys even put a fan blowing air underneath the console to keep cool air, going into that mixer. I have seen many a X32 shut down on a hot sunny day, even under a tent, and in that scenario. And the wing does not make me feel better about that. The wing rack does not make me feel better about that. I feel like that there's some concerns there. I'm still waiting for someone. Why wouldn't they kick up the wing to 96K? Are we even trying to compete with the SQ line of Allen and Heath here? Because they're pretty much rolling the roost. They really are. And I've said this 1,000 times, if Allen and Heath will come out with an SQ rack with 32 inputs on the front of the unit, I don't care if the thing is 6U, okay? I don't care if it takes up 6 rack spaces. I will dedicate 1 rack just to that mixer. I don't need any kind of internal, router, networking. Just give me an output for an external router, and I can put a point of access on that, and that'll get me everywhere I need to be, on the grounds. But no one is doing that. No one's bringing that 96K rack mixer to the table in that kind of format. And I think that the wing rack really had an opportunity to be able to do that, to really hit that niche. Like, hey, we're going to kick this up, to the next level. Okay, you stay 48K, it ain't the end of the freaking world. That's all fine and good. But at least give us 32 inputs and 16 outs on the front of the unit, so we're not digging around upside down in the back of a rack in a dark nightclub somewhere with a flashlight in our mouth looking for the keyboard channel. That's the reality of my world. That's the reality of the world that I live in. I hate that about an X32 rack. When I bought my X32 rack, when they dropped the prices, I don't even have 1 gig on it yet. It's in a case right there. I bought an S32 stage box to get all the inputs and outputs on the front of the rack. I don't have any problem with that taking up, 6 spaces in a rolling rack. Because I'm using a 16U rack anyways, what I'm saying, or at least a 14U, Come on, man. Here was your opportunity to get that right. And I just don't feel like you are coming and meeting the needs of the mobile, the mobile audio guy. I think you're more focused on install guys and guys that are going to be recording and using those kind of buzzers and whistles. And for that, it's a great desk. I still have concerns about the build quality, because the build quality is very X32. The whole reason I'm M32 is because of Nutrix connectors and all the things that come with the Midas level, build quality. I know guys with X32s that's got XLRs sticking out. They had to clip their cable. They couldn't get the XLR out of the back of the console or the S32 stage box. That's kind of a reality of those things. You know what I mean? You kind of get what you pay for in some of this. And I don't really think that, I guess for the price point, the Wing brings a lot of features. It looks really good on paper, but just the practical application of that, of someone like me who is going to plug and unplug, 16 to 26 mics 3 or 4 times a week into that console, I don't want to dig in the back of the rack for that thing. So then I got to buy a patch bay to move all that stuff up front. I'm tired of having to buy stage boxes and patch bays to get what you guys should be smart enough to put in the unit right out of the box. Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? Was it really that hard to put 8 more inputs on the wing rack instead of 24, do 32? Was it really that hard? I don't know, man. You know, I mean, it just kind of, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that if you want to tear a rack apart and pull the rails off of it and move it back to where the inputs are right at the back lid, when you take the back lid off your rack, and, you know, maybe that will kind of make sense with the way the front, you know, tilts out and that sort of thing, and maybe to give you some protection for someone not, you know, going to hit that front panel and knock it off the front of the unit itself, the piece itself. Those are things that I think of, man, because we're working in nightclubs where there's drunk people who have absolutely no sense whatsoever. The nice thing about the M32C DL32 setup, there's not really much to play around with on the front of it. It's not really super appealing to, you know, someone to go down there and start fingering around on it outside of the power button, which obviously that would shut the show down. But, you know, it doesn't have a big colorful screen on it that attracts people to it or anything like that. I love those things. Like, I put those things in churches all the time, and the churches love it. You know why? Because 6 and 8-year-olds don't find it interesting. They just don't, you know? That's a big thing in the church market, you know? Especially when you can't seem to keep your gear locked down the way you want it to be. It just sort of is what it is, you know what I'm saying? So the Behringer wing rack had all the potential in the world to blow us out of the water and to really kick up the quality of the build and to give us middle market, pro audio guys the things that we're looking for, and it did not deliver on that as far as I'm concerned. I think it was much more geared toward permanent install and home studio guys. At least that's how it comes off to me. Now, obviously, the thing will work just fine in a live, you know, setting, and there's going to be a whole bunch of you blow up my comment section and tell me that that's exactly what you bought it for, and you don't care that all the inputs are on the back, and it's the greatest mixer that has ever, you know, been placed on the face of the planet. That's all fine and good. You spec police can, you know, roast me all you want, but I'm telling you, at the end of the day, I'm someone who spends a lot of money. You know, I tend to spend somewhere between 30 and 40 grand a year on gear. A year. You know, so I would have no problem migrating in that direction if someone would really just give me a rack mixer that meets my needs. Man, the HD96 in a rack form, just 32 channel on board, give it the ability to expand, you know, so you can get the big channel count. 96K, all the buzzers and whistles of a HD96 in a rack mixer. Let's call it 5 rack spaces, 6 rack spaces. You know, we put an external router on it with a point of access. Boom, we are cooking with peanut oil, baby. And I would pay as much as 7 or 8 grand for that thing all day long. All day long, okay? You know? And there's no reason why you can't do it. Now, I think the HD96, you know, rings in somewhere around 30 grand or something like that. So maybe I'm smoking a pipe here, pipe dream kind of thing or something. I'll take it, but a brother can dream, okay? A brother can dream. Right now, the M32C DL32 setup, I think, has the absolute most bang for your buck as far as it being a rack mixer geared toward middle market mobile audio guys. That's just my opinion. Take it, leave it, hate it, do whatever you want with it. That's all fine and good. The day, you know, Midas or Allen and Heath come out with a 96K rack mixer, I will immediately start selling my M32s and move in that direction, because that's really where I would like to see us go. And I would love to be in that ecosystem wherever it may fall, you know? I mean, if Mackie can come out with their first rack mixer and have all 32 inputs, all 32 inputs on the front of the rack, why can't Music Tribe get that right? Really? This is where we are? Really? You're telling me all the knowledge of Midas and all the companies that are under that Music Tribe umbrella can't put their heads together and give us a rack mixer like that? 32 in, 16 out on the front of the rack. I mean, like, I don't know, dude. Maybe I'm asking for too much. I don't know. Maybe I'm asking for too much. I don't know. I know that, $3,000 to $4,000 range is where most guys are, trying to get into a decent rack mixer, and you can get into the M32 DL32 setup that way. I had one guy comment on one of my posts just a couple days ago and said, you know what? I use that M and DL setup all the time. It makes me money. The phone is ringing. It's paid for. No one's complaining, and it works week after week after week after week. My A-Rig has a M32C DL32 stage box. They both probably have no less than, I'm going to say, 900 or 1,000 shows on that rig. And it fires up every week. It does exactly what I needed to do. In fact, I was in it the other day. I've run out of scene slots, and I need to go back through my scene and delete a bunch of bands that I rarely mix or was at a specific venue that required a specific scene that I no longer do, or the event doesn't exist anymore. So I need to go back and clean up that scene file and open up some slots for clients that I am doing regularly now, because we pick up new guys all the time. So that's kind of my take, man. That's my, gut level thing. If you're a wing guy and you love this thing and you think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, rock on. I'm not mad at you, okay? You do you, boo. But for my money and for my blue collar company that I'm trying to run, and for, as much as I have to stay focused on ROI, return on investment, the wing rack is not making me open my wallet. There's nothing about it that is attracting me to that unit in any way, shape, or form. I don't need all the buzzers and whistles that it offers, because my M32 gives me everything that I need to accomplish anything that I want to accomplish while mixing. I don't really need all the customization. That's the thing that, these guys, if they would scale down a 96K, SQ or HD96 or something like that into a rack mixer, you can shave off a lot of those customization features. We just don't need them in the middle market. We need a straight ahead, platform framed around reliability and quality of sound. Give us good preamps and, give us the same, rack effects that we can choose from on the M32, and we can make that work, Is it a waves rack and all this other crazy stuff that you guys get so lost in? No, it's not. But I have yet to mix a gig, and I have been doing this for over 35 years, where someone came up to me in the middle of the gig and was like, dude, your mix would be so much better if you were, using some waves plugins on this. Or, hey, dude, and, this is going to bust somebody's balls right here. Hey, dude, your mix would be so much better if it was 96K. I'm only asking for 96K because you get better processing that way. I'm looking at reliability there. I'm looking at, getting the most bang for my buck. So you don't have to give us pro touring customization features in a middle market rack mixer. You can give us the basic features we're already used to, just make it better. Give us better preamps. Man, give us those HD96 preamps, man. Those preamps are so freaking sick. And that 251 stage box, it's so ridiculously sick. Give us 32 of those Jaspers, man, and 16 ounce. And we are like cooking with peanut oil, baby. I mean, that's as good as Grandma's biscuits. You know what I'm saying? You just can't get any better than that. Grandma's biscuits, I hope you hear my heart in all this. I'm not trying to hate on anybody, but I'm just trying to give you tools. Like, this is a flavor of the week mixer. That's what I view this as. This is going to, next week, wait till January when NAMM happens in Anaheim. And everybody releases all their new stuff. There's going to be 10 different flavors of the week, and 1 or 2 are going to rise to the top. And everybody online who doesn't own any equipment and never buys any of their own consoles, that always wants their church to make that purchase, or their nightclub owner to make that purchase, or the band leader to make that purchase, It's those people who never have money out of their own pocket that will get on here and will bellyache and complain about, I would never mix a show on an M32, or I would never use an X32, or, you know, what I mean, like fill in the blank, dude, to whatever console isn't the one that they're using today. Because they're using the flavor of the week console, the most popular thing that's out this year. And guess what? In a year to 18 months, they're going to have a complete change of heart. And the next flavor of the week console that comes out, they're going to chase that one. Those are the mistakes I'm trying to keep you from on this channel. Those are the kind of mistakes that I'm trying to keep you from spending your hard-earned money chasing gear you don't need, okay? You don't need it. It's the best I can do. It's as honest as I can be with you guys. If you get it, great, because if you know, you know. If you don't, hey, that's cool too, man. I get it. If you're new to the channel and this is the first video you've seen of mine, go back and watch some of the others. I freely give just enormous amounts of knowledge and wisdom to you guys regularly on how to make your mix better and how to build your systems in a more efficient manner and how to not spend money on gear you just don't need and how to make the most out of the gear that you do have and what gear gives you the most bang for your buck. That's the whole point of this channel. If you want someone who's just going to set and spec you to death, I can do that, but that's not my groove, dude. Because that doesn't teach anybody anything. About 3 sentences into their conversation, it's all over your head and you're lost. Go back and check out my Art of Mixing series. It's on the free side of the channel. It's not even on the member-only side. It's on the free side. Go back and, look at some of my in-ear monitor videos. Go look at some, dude, I'm just trying to give you bare bones information that is going to help you get where you want to be. Look, I love you guys, and I'll see you Wednesday for the weekly Grumpy Sound Guy show. Take care.